Shalom, family. I was looking at a video today where this sister from Sierra Leone, Africa, she was talking some very, very powerful stuff, and where she was basically exposing this Western lie that has been put out about Africa. Now, for so long, we all grew up thinking that Africans were nothing more than people with flies in their eyes and big bellies and guts that were so protruded to where even the children looked pregnant, to where they were just running around in the jungle with animals and doing this, that, and the other, but they had no civilization. They weren't smart or anything, right? This is what the Western media has pushed. And anytime you have people pushing things like that, they have an agenda. Okay, they have an agenda, and anybody who wants to say, well, no, that's not what they were doing. I mean, it's like, we're getting to the point now where when people want to wallow in silliness and being simple-minded, just let them go. Let them go at it. You only want to talk and deal with people who want to make sense of this world and who wants to understand what's truly happening. But anyway, and I'm going to try to make this as brief as possible. Anyway, this sister from Sierra Leone, she was talking about how they are finding big giant chunks of diamonds and gold in their land, right? And she said it's very common for someone to go out in their backyard and dig up a chunk of gold. And she went on to speak more about all of the resources and all of the wealth and all of the things that are in the African continent. They have the largest array of animals and minerals and wealth and all kinds of things. The richest soil, everything is going on in Africa. And when she made a comparison, I was glad to hear this, because I recently did a video where I was talking about some of these things where you have these witch doctors. And I'm not talking about African witch doctors. You have these spin doctors who use all of their printed media, their television media, their movies, their commercials, their publications, all of this different stuff, to try to trick the mind and rape the mind into thinking that Africa is this garbage dump land hellhole, right? That's what they want you to believe. At the same time, they got their behinds over there raping the land, stealing the resources, raping the people, stealing the people, killing the people. You name it, they're doing it, killing the animals. Right now, the earth is groaning like, get these people the heck away from us, because they are just terrorizing the planet, right? That's what the Bible actually talked about, the earth groaning. Okay, so that's where I'm getting that reference from. But anyway, the sister, as she was explaining things, a lot of people believe the things that Western media publishes. When they tell you that Africans are so poor and they're so needy and they're so this and so that, the sister talked about how they make it seem like they are giving free aid to Africa. And I love it when you have a sister or a brother of African descent or African American descent or wherever we are, who are not afraid to speak up and tell the truth. These people ain't giving no free aid to Africa. I remember talking to my husband about this a few years ago. I said, you know what's funny? They always talking about they taking aid over there. Most of the resources that they get for these countries that they have are from Africa. The sister was talking about how the certain minerals and certain metals and platinum and all this stuff they get from Africa, so they can make their computers and cell phones and all of this technology they claim they have. They get a lot of the resources for this stuff from Africa, but they want to paint a picture like Africa is so poor and poverty stricken. Now the people are poor because you got something going on. You got these spin doctors, these colonial imperialist demons who have been all over the planet raping the resources and taking things and raping the people and all of this stuff. You have them who take the resources to their countries and leave the people of the region poor. Now this is where we come in as a people. Why do we allow this? Why? What is wrong with us to where we've seen that the same people who have terrorized us for centuries, they want to come back and say, okay, we freed you now, but can we have the rights to get some of this stuff and we'll pay you for it? I'm reminded of one story. There was a documentary called Coconut Revolution. That is an awesome documentary to watch. But let me tell you what these people did. they found out that this area, I believe it was copper, don't quote me on it, but they found out that this particular black area had all this copper. And they went to the leaders of that area and asked for permission to extract the copper. So they set up their company over there, set up shop. And what started happening is they tore the land up so bad that it was messing with the water supply, it was messing with everything, and it made it so they actually, I think they quoted and said that the land that they've messed up won't be of any use to anybody for the next 2,000 years. Again, don't quote me on the exact numbers, watch the documentary for yourself. But, you know, the people finally got tired of their occupation in their land, and they asked them to leave. But what happened was, when they asked them to leave, when these black people asked these occupiers to leave, I ain't even got to tell y'all who they are. If you don't know who they are, then you need to get in some books and read real fast. But when they told these occupying people to leave their land, they sat around at their little boardroom table, looked at them and laughed like, make us leave. You see, that's that pompous pride that these people have, that the Most High is going to bust down to the ground real soon, you see. But anyway, they said, the so-called black people said, okay, so you don't want to leave, huh? Okay, I tell you what. Let me tell you what they did. Those people, what they ended up doing was they made some very primitive devices. And wait a minute, I think they used dynamite from those people. Don't quote me on it, go look at the documentary. But anyway, they ended up going to the business that housed everything and where they were running their corporation. And make a long story short, they blew that sucker up. They blew it off the map. They were like, if you ain't gonna leave, we gonna blow you away. They didn't kill no people. They just went after hours, when everybody went home, scurrying off to their little devil dens. The indigenous black people blew it up, and they forced them off. And so the coconut revolution was a result of, when they did this, they began to surround these people and make it so they couldn't go on or off their particular land. And so this is when they started using coconuts to do everything the land needed. They made fuel, they were making food, of course, they were making all kinds of things with coconuts. And I said, wow, look at the ingenuity of these melanated people. We got that in us, y'all. It ain't something that's gone. It was never gone. And this is why we are treated the way we are, because they want to make us feel like we dumb, stupid, and don't know nothing, like we ain't got two brain cells to run together or to rub together. But what's happening is, some of our people, especially those who have adapted to Western culture, we believe this garbage. We believe this mess. And so this is why they're able to trick us so easily. But again, back to the sister with the African resources. This sister was talking about how they come and take all of their valuable stuff, and they go around talking about the Western nations are the richest on the planet. She said, you're using paper money that's painted paper money, and you're saying you're the richest and that we're the poorest, when really Africa is the richest and they're the poorest. But they switch it around in their own minds, and they feed it to the public. You see, they feed this narrative to the public, and you got people thinking that Africa is so poor. The only poverty is in Africa is the fact that the people have not learned how to defeat this enemy that they have, this enemy that keep on raping and robbing their resources. You see, you even got people from the East doing the same thing. You see, they're a little bit nicer to the so-called Africans, but they're doing the same thing. Everybody's trying to grab their little piece of the African pie. Everybody but the so-called Africans. That's because we still just ain't got it up here yet. You see, we still don't understand what has happened in this world to why these people have been allowed to do the things that they've done to us. And we don't know how to fix this thing. And the reason is, Scripture says we are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. If some of you would just listen to how the problem even came about, then you would know that there is a solution. But it seems like we're so unwilling to do that. All we want to do is run our mouths about how black people are so-called the dominant gene, or we got the dominant traits, or we got this, that, and the other. All of that's a bunch of malarkey if you ain't got the dominant brain. We need to recapture our pineal gland and allow it to work for us. You see, learn how to work together. Now, I already know that this ain't gonna happen I was talking to a sister the other day. Me and my husband, we were saying all of this stuff about trying to unify the so-called black community. It seems like it's futile. Seems like it's a lost cause many times. But that don't stop us from trying to unify with at least a handful, because there's always going to be a remnant that will do things, see, and a remnant that will work together. And so that's the remnant that we have to look for. Who can we work together with in Africa? If you can't find, or if you can't unify all of the African countries, maybe find a handful of you that will unify, you see. But again, back to that African resource thing, and how you have Western wizards trying to make us think that what they have is so grand and so amazing and so valuable. That is some serious witchcraft right there, because when you really think about green paper money with dead presidents on it and stripes going through it, they've tricked the whole world into thinking that the world will collapse without that. And anybody who tries to stick their head up and rise above the paper money, they're going down. You see, that's what's happened. And unfortunately, it's going to take divine intervention from the Most High God of heaven, from the Most High Yah of heaven, to deal with what we're dealing with on this planet. Because as long as people are simple-minded to the point of trusting everything that they hear coming out of the media box, the meditation box, the mesmerizing box, the spell casting box, the program, the TV programs, the programming box. As long as you got people sitting back depending on what's coming out of that for all of the truth that they're going to get, you can just hang it up. And unfortunately, most of the population is just like that. Whatever they're told, that's what they believe. They don't research nothing. They go with the popular narrative. They don't want to think outside of the box. You see, the television box. They don't want to think outside of that because they feel like it's too dangerous. It's too dangerous to have my own thoughts. I need the media to tell me what to think. I need them to tell me what to eat. I don't know. I need the FDA to tell me if this food is safe to eat because I'm not sure. Now I'm going to tell y'all something real quick. I was like that at one time. Not completely, but I was there in many aspects. I remember we have a pecan tree in our front yard, and I remember years and years while we were living here, the pecans would hit the ground, the squirrels would eat them, and we would like go for the gusto. I'm not eating those things. They ain't been tested. Ain't nobody told us whether or not they good to eat. And then when I look back on that, now I say, man, I was one simple-minded chick back then to think that I need these people who allow all kinds of chemicals and stuff to be put in our food. I need them to check my pecans for me and let me know if they all right. Man, when I think back to those times, I say, man, we were in some darkness then. I don't need these people to tell me what to eat. We have plenty of things that grow around here in the natural, and that we, through our own research, we know what to eat. You see, some plants we can smell, and we know whether or not it's poison or whether or not it's good for you. Of course, that's not the only way to determine, so don't go around just eating anything because it smells good, okay? I'm just trying to make a point. When you shed simplicity and you begin to research and think for yourself and stop depending on the media box, the meditation box, or the mental paralysis box, there's another one for you. Stop depending on that and start thinking for yourself. You'd be surprised what you will find out and how much your family can grow. You see, most of us are afraid of growth. The dumb box will tell us to go out and get us some Mickey D's, that this is a good meal for your family, that you can get a burger for 99 cents. Now that I think about it, who in the heck in their right mind would eat a 99-cent hamburger? Come on now. I'm telling you, when your eyes get open, once they've opened, it ain't no closing them. You're going to only get better with time, you see. That's where I find myself right now. And that's why I'm able to see that how the Western media has programmed us. I remember when we lived back in Detroit, I was just a kid, and I found out a friend of one of my someone else. I don't remember who the person is, but anyway, I was a kid at the time, teenager. I remember hearing that this sister from Detroit was moving to Africa. And back in our dumb days, we were saying, why would somebody want to move to Africa? Those people are this, those people are that. Africa is this, Africa is that. I remember talking about that as a kid. And now I see just how stupid all of that sounds. Talking about why would somebody want to move to Africa? Of course, you got to be careful where you move in Africa. And not every area of Africa is the same. You got to be careful where you move, period. You can move from you can go from Chicago to Texas and be killed. That's what happened to Sandra Bland. So anywhere you go, you have to be careful. But the point I'm trying to make is this. We have been so trained by this propaganda, meditation, media dumb box to think a certain way that when we think of Africa, we think of savages, because that is the word that was spoon-fed to all of us, that Africans are savages, that they are without civilization, that they're without knowledge, they're just these dumb, melanated black people. I have so much respect for my African brothers and sisters, you have no idea. I have so much respect for them. And we've had a lot of Africans reach out to us lately. Hello, family. Hello to you. You see, I'm glad that they've reached out to us, and many of them tell us that they're watching us from various areas in the African continent. Whenever I get those messages, I feel so happy that they view us as family. Now, I know you got these Israelites who want to call them stinking Hamites. I can't stand that, because you got these same so-called black people who are more engrafted with these European countries and these mixed nations of people, and they look at them more like family than they do the people in Africa. I think that is straight up retarded. And that's why we as a people are just laughed at around the globe, because you even have people in Africa who are more have more respect for their conquerors than they do for people who look just like them. And that's a sickness we got to get rid of. You see, if there's any medication or any type of leaf you can chew on in Africa to get rid of that sickness, why don't y'all share it with the rest of us? Send us some over here. If there's anything that'll help you repair the pineal gland to get rid of this Euro diet, this Euro mind rape that we are being subjected to, this thing that have caused us to be so simple-minded, silly, stupid, and ignorant, please let us know what that thing is and get a bunch of it over here fast, because our people are slipping into oblivion. We need to understand what has happened to all of us. What has happened to all of us is a crime against humanity, but we're so afraid to speak out against it. They've been doing what they've been doing for the past few hundred years, and speaking out against it ain't going to hurt anything. Shutting up is what has allowed it to continue. When things like that go unchecked, nobody's talking about it because they're too scared. I mean, they've been doing, even with us, even with our silence, they still do the stuff. So what's the point in being quiet about it? Of course they're going to always call us racist for speaking out against these things, because they're reprobate. That's what reprobate people do. Reprobate people think that you talking about what is being done to you by them is just as bad or worse as the actual action. So they think, let me just bring things into perspective for you. There are millions of people on this planet, if not billions, who think that my actions by sitting here in front of this camera speaking and talking are just as bad as the person who will take a gun and blow away another person for simply being black. If I talk about that in their reprobate mind, I'm just as bad. Now, I saw a video. Now, they were saying that it was a Muslim or what have you, but then someone else said that this was a video that came out of Brazil, where it was this Muslim-looking, Arab-looking, Latino-looking, they're all from the same group. They're just a mixed race of black and white. That's what they all are. The Arabs, they just speak different languages. You see, when you have the Arabs and the Latinos, this is why a person who was of so-called Arab descent could pass for a Latino or a Mexican. You see, they're all just mixed people, mixed with black and white. But anyway, there was a video of this so-called Mexican-looking, Arab, Latino-looking guy had a black guy on the ground. He had a stick. First he bust him across his face and arm and body with that stick. Many of you may have saw this video. It was really hard to watch, really hard to watch. But he didn't stop there with just hitting this black guy with the stick. He began to stomp his head in the ground, kicking him, punching him so hard. I ain't talking about no mediocre kicks. He was kicking this guy so bad, and this guy was crying, oh my goodness. And then this devil, I don't know what he was, that don't even matter, but he began to stump his head into the brick. Now I'm gonna tell y'all something. The book of Enoch said that these mixed races would begin to terrorize mankind. That statement alone tells you something, that we're dealing with people who have a total disregard for humanity. It said that it says the mixed races would begin to terrorize mankind, meaning the indigenous. Ain't that what we've seen happen all over the planet? Where you would have people invade our lands, and then they would interject their seed in there and create a whole new third race. And these people, even though they don't cleave unto the father of their race, which is the European man who went to these areas raping, they don't cleave to them. They become a third race, and then they terrorize the so-called black people. We saw a documentary where something very similar happened, to where this young black woman, some 60, 70 years ago, I forget the area, it may have been Tasmania, but these European men went over there and they were raping like crazy. I'm not going to just say rape. You know, they make it seem like it was consensual, but they forced themselves. I am going to say rape, because some of these young women were very young. They have one clip of this girl, looked like she was about 16 years old, and this big, tall European man standing there holding her. And in the documentary, they said he went on to father a child with her. Now, the documentary was about that child that this European man fathered with this young black girl. And what happened was, he grew up, and there were a lot of other mixed people that grew up in the region. Those mixed people married each other, but there was a segment where he had all these black people that were working for him, right? And he started mistreating those black people. They were working for him, but he started mistreating them. I think it was coffee that they were dealing with, and he found out. He said one of the so-called, let me let this car go by. Okay, he said one of the so-called black people was stealing some of his coffee. Now, he on their land, right? He's the mixed child of this white man, but he grows up, and he said he found out one of the so-called black people was stealing some coffee from him, and so he beat this man, or had this man beat so bad. And I said, he's acting, and he was saying things to him as well. And I said, you know what? He's acting just like his dad. He's acting just like his father. You see, and they showed his family who he married. Of course, he married another mixed person. They don't marry back into the black. This mixed man didn't go find him no black woman to marry. He married another mixed person. And so that's how the creation of third races began. And all of the mixed people of those regions, they marry each other and grow up and have a third race. So I kind of went around the circles with this particular video, but I was trying to explain or establish how there's this portrayal of black people as being so impoverished in Africa, and that Africa needs the help of the West. But really, the West needs the help of Africa. But instead of them asking for the help, they take it, they steal it, and then they tell you that Africa needs them. Oh, let's help the poor African kids. If people would just leave them Africans alone and let them run their own land and do their own thing, they were doing just fine before the West decided to bring their behinds over there. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video. I think I've said a whole lot. I'm starting to hear a lot of activity on the other side of the fence. I'm not trying to stir up too much controversy, if you know what I mean. I'm just trying to get the truth out to my people. And with that, I'm going to say I love you, family, and shalom to you.